Hi folks, we're here today talking about your LED tubes to fluorescent tube replacements. A lot of people have been asking questions about how hard is it to replace the ballast or to direct line to your tombstones with a magnetic ballast. So what we're going to do today, show you how to basically disassemble a fixture and eliminate the ballast so you can wire straight to your tombstones with your LEDs. My name is Joel with American West Coast LED, and right now we're going to be taking apart, this is actually a T12 unit, which T12 basically just means it's the diameter of the tube itself. A T8 is an inch, a T5 is a half an inch, and a T12 is an inch and a half. It's done in millimeters of its size. So right now we're going to go ahead and take the hood off. The reflector shield of this unit right here. Usually it's done with either a Phillips, a flathead screwdriver, or you can have a, if you have a drill, obviously a drill would be quicker. So right now we're going to take the hood off, which it will show us. It'll show us the magnetic ballast here. This is a very old fixture here in my buddy's garage. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out where your load and neutral is. But one of the most important things with doing this is making sure that the electricity is turned off or not plugged into your fixture. You don't want to have anything happen. You don't want to get shocked. Here's the cord. Hey, hey. So here's what we're going to do. If you want to bring the camera in a little bit, mainly what happens is, so you have your load neutral coming in. Usually your load is going to be the black wire, and usually the neutral will be the white wire. As these travel down and get tied into your main connection here, they will link up to your ballast. Okay, so what you want to do is just give yourself a little bit of wiggle room here and cut the load and cut the ballast. And whenever I do this, I always like to kind of squint my eyes or turn my head just in case that power is on in that fixture. So we're going to cut the load and neutral off. We're going to strip both these ends. Okay. After we strip both these ends, what we have to do is just determine what side you want to have the load and what side you want to actually put the neutral on. If you look down here and pan with the camera here, the yellow wires that are coming out of the tombstone run both these tombstones down here on this end. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to trim both these ends here of the yellow cord, and we're going to make that side of the fixture, which is going to be both of these tombstones, are going to be run with the neutral. So after these both get stripped, you grab your white wire, bring it across here, you're going to grab your basic wire nut. It costs a couple pennies. So for this application, you're basically just going to need a pair of wire cutters, a flathead screwdriver, or a Phillips, and you're going to wire nut both the wires that were going into those tombstones. Now if you pan down here, you can actually see that this tombstone is actually creating the current into this tombstone, and the black wires are actually trailing over into this tombstone here. Now if you come back to this side, we have 4 wires coming out of these tombstones. You're going to have basically 2 reds and 2 blues. The great thing about our tubes is any pin, any power source. So if you're basically, you can go from 1 to 1, but the easiest, simplest fix is just to cut all 4 wires, strip all 4 wires down, and because we put the load, the neutral on the other side, what we're going to do is we're going to just strip these. Once they're all stripped, just kind of bunch them all together, and a lot of times I find it's easier just to kind of push your finger against them to make sure they're all about the same length. Kind of do a little quick twist, and you want to grab that load and hook up that load with the wire nut. Now with 5 wires, I prefer to use the gray wire nuts. They actually can hold smaller gauges all the way up to about maybe 8 wires in one gray wire nut. The orange ones I had laying around, so for this demonstration today we're using the orange wire nuts. Now with this magnetic ballast, it's always good to take out the magnetic ballast. Once this ballast is removed, there's no it's basically like a big battery. It can leak battery acid. So a lot of times you do want to remove these using a pair of pliers. What you can do, usually it's connected either with one nut or two. A nut driver would be great for this application. Today I'm just showing you with a pair of needle nose insulated pliers. So as that comes off, slips out of the end, and each magnetic ballast probably weighs anywhere from 5 to 8 pounds. Usually the magnetic ballasts are always basically, even when your power's turned off, magnetic ballasts are draining power. So if you do have magnetic ballasts in your fixtures, it's always good to eliminate those and wire direct to the tombstones with our LED tubes. The other great thing about having this done, the only point of failure at that point, so if we put our LED tubes in here, the only point of failure would be our T8 lamps themselves. So let's go ahead and try to put some LED T-lits in here. Now that this fixture is wired, I can just show you real quick now that the ballast is over. Come on up, bring the camera up here. So we basically took the hot and wired it up to each of these tombstones. Took all 4 wires, wired them up to the load. We took the wires that were coming off of this end of the tombstone. If you pan back to right down the line to right here, you can see that we've taken both the yellow wires and attached them to the neutral. Alright, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to put this back on. The hood's going back on. You got a couple screws to do here. Sometimes, when we put these together, a lot of times, when you're working up on the scaffolding or you're working up on your scissor lift, it's always nice to have somebody, about every, 3 or 4 fixtures before you keep continuing on to try the smoke test. And the smoke test is to turn the lamps on, turn the power on to see if there's any wires that are kind of, not basically hooked up correctly with the wire nut. A lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes even with tying all those wire nuts together, all the wires within the wire nut, sometimes you can have a poor connection. So it's always good about every 2 fixtures you do, just to give a real quick test, so you're not having to go back and basically, work your way back and do more work for yourself. Okay, so this fixture is ready to go with some LED tubes. So we're going to go ahead and put some LED tubes in. I've got a 5000K right here, and I believe we have maybe another 5000K. So with the ballast ripped out, our tubes work to about 95% of the magnetic, the 95% of the electronic ballast that are out there, and about maybe 40 to 50% of the magnetic ballast that are out there. So, the great thing is you can use these lamps on any electronical ballast. And usually, with using no ballast, the tubes run about 100 and maybe 25 lumens per watt. Now, when you rip out the ballast, it's 125. Without the ballast, it's about 110 to 115 lumens. So there is a little bit of difference. But the main thing is you're going to get a lot cleaner light, a lot brighter light, and let's get this thing hooked up to some power right now. Right, so now we're going to go ahead and run some power into this fixture to see if I did wire it correctly. With no ballast in there, really shouldn't be much lag time from when you plug in your power or turn on your light switch or turn on your breakers. So let's go ahead and plug it in right now. Bam. We are running 2 5000Ks in here with full power, so they're pumping about 120 to 125 lumens per watt. Very simple to do. As you can see, I was talking a lot of the time of it instead of really focusing. When you do about 10 of them, you really get good at it, and it takes about 10-15 minutes per fixture. to do. So yeah, thanks for watching this video at American West Coast LED. We hope to be your LED carriers here. Give us a call. So yes, if you'd like to contact American West Coast LED, any questions, there's no dumb questions in this business, give us a call. 831-295-2356. Thank you very much.